Hey, I'm Dante.
And hey, I'm Dana.
And welcome to the Dante Show.
What's up, Village? It's your boy Kwame, the man with the plan behind the stands. Before we get into it, do me a favor. If you are on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever, hit that share button so people can see what the fuss is all about. Don't worry if it's the end of the show. They can catch the replay. We're trying to spread the love instead of spreading the lies, y'all. All right, let's get into it. Did you know that our boy Donta Morrison is a best-selling author? Do you like smut? Yes, smut. Well, these books are filled with it. Check out The End of the Rainbow, followed by the sequel, Yesterday Clarified. You can get them on Amazon, or if you are tired of giving Jeff Bezos the time of day, you can visit www.dontamorrison.com, where, in fact, you will find out more about the motivational, inspirational, hilarious host known as Dante, Mr. Morrison if you're nasty. He is not only the host of TDS, he is a public health advocate, motivational speaker, and community change agent. Articles, interviews, blogs, podcasts, vlogs, and more. You name it, and Dante has done it. Speaking of vlogs, have you subscribed to the Dante Show YouTube? Now, every villager should be subscribed. The more the channel grows, the bigger TDS messaging becomes. It's really simple. Go to www.youtube.com/Donta Morrison. And also, did you want to be a guest on the Dante Show, or do you want to book Dante or Dana on your platform? Stop. Don't inbox him, don't email him, or even call him. You know what you need to do? Go ahead and open your handy-dandy smartphone or Wi-Fi enabled device and send an email to info@pyromedianetwork.com and request your presence on the show. It's 2021, y'all, and Dante and Dana has got management. So, let's conduct business. Speaking of management, the Dante Show is produced by Pyro Media Network. We are a Black-owned digital marketing and video production agency helping businesses and brands make an impact with their message. We also help businesses navigate what we call the biggest communication shift in over 500 years, social media. So, if you have a business, brand, or influence, and you want to take it to the next level, contact us today. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to see you on the next. Boom.
What up, Village? What it do, what it do, what it do. Happy Monday. We are back in effect. Glad to be here with y'all. I am Donta Morrison, host of the Dante Show. And as always, I got my phenomenal co-host with me on tonight. Finally, he back from vacation. What it do?
Ladies, what's happening? I'm glad to be back. Village, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? It's going to be a great show tonight. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, do y'all feel me? Oh, they feel me. They glad to see me back, Dante. They glad to see me back. Somebody just called you DJ Quick. Oh, my God.
Oh, was that Joe? Tonight is the night. And I'm feeling kind of sporty.
Oh, my God.
Don't play. I love Quick. Hey, speaking of DJ Quick S type stuff, so I live in Leimert Park. And anybody familiar with LA, you know, Leimert Park is a cool neighborhood. It's a really cool neighborhood. Going through gentrification or whatnot, but it's going through whatever. For some reason, every day, not all day, but you hear about 10 or 15 police cars swooping down Martin Luther King Boulevard, like swooping, like doing at least 70, down King, sirens blaring. I'm running in the house, I'm getting my dog, I'm closing windows, like what's going on? Helicopter come, turn on the news, you never hear anything.
Nothing.
It's like you never hear a news report of what happened. You never hear what on Next Door Neighbor, nothing. But I'm like, so we just had 10 to 15 squad cars swoop down the street. Like it is a sniper, like it's the president coming, and you never hear anything. It's like, well, who are y'all going after? What happened?
They was trying to get the Krispy Kreme.
The hot now sign was on.
Yeah, the hot now sign was on. So they was trying to get over there before the line got long.
Right. On the corner of King and Crenshaw, of course. They're trying to get that new crab joint on the corner of King and Crenshaw, to get their crab, whatever. But it always baffled me. And I want to call the news. I want to call somebody to figure out, why do the police do that? It'd be like 2 a.m. sometime. Swooping. I mean, swoop a word? Mashing down Crenshaw. And anyway, that's just
you make up words anyway. So swooping, zhuzh, all these words you make up. So
co-host,
right? Co-host, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Co-host in the building.
All right, so look, y'all, we got a phenomenal show tonight. Hey, listen, I know, on the title, it says all of us got problems, all of us got issues, all of us got stuff that we are dealing with, whether it's in public or behind the scenes. But tonight's co-host is a phenomenal therapist. She's hilarious in her presentation, and she's gonna bring the heat and let us know what can we do to overcome some of that zhuzh that we're dealing with, on the low. Some of that murk, some of that stuff that's top of the soup that we got to skim off. What do we got to do? But before we do that, the Donta Show is all about Black people, all about Black lives. Black lives matter 100%. We always talk about, February being Black History Month, but why do we got to only have Black History Month? We are Black 24/7, 365. And with that being said, every single episode, we highlight a Black icon, Black legend, Black entrepreneur, Black artist, Black educator, Black somebody. And tonight is no different. Dana, you ready for this?
Let's go.
Oh, here we go.
Tonight, we're going to talk about Kenneth Bancroft Clark,
Boom.
U.S. African-American educator, a psychologist. Kenneth Clark conducted pioneering research into the impact of racial segregation on children. He was committed to integration and strongly opposed both white and Black separatists. Kenneth Bancroft Clark was born on July 14th, 1914 in the Panama Canal Zone. He attended Howard University and graduated from Columbia University with a PhD in psychology in 1940. With his wife, Mamie Phipps Clark, he administered the Doll test to African-American school children in the 1940s and 50s. The test involved giving a child a Black and white doll, asking the child to select a favorite. In the segregated South, the Black children preferred the white doll by a wide margin, with many children calling the Black doll bad. During his career, Clark established several institutions, including the Northside Child Development Center in Harlem in 1946. He was active during the Civil Rights Movement and wrote extensively about the plight of African Americans in urban slums. Some of his books include Prejudice and Your Child, 1955, Dark Ghetto, 1965, A Relevant War Against Poverty in 1969. Clark was a professor of psychology at City College of City University of New York from 1960 to 1975. He won the Spingarn Medal in 1961. He died on May 1st, 2005 in Hastings-on-Hudson, New York. Let's give it up again for Kenneth Bancroft Clark, African-American educator.
I love it. And a lot of y'all, I know a lot of y'all watching are familiar with the dog test. It's like iconic. It's like just it's sad to see. Every time I watch it, like, dang, even when they do it today, you still see the black kids picking the white dog because they feel the white is superior. But with shows like the Donta Show, constantly educating these black kids are gonna know black is great, black is excellent. And if anybody is friends with Joe McClane, just look at Joe McClane's back. His whole back is a huge tattoo that is about the black experience.
That's right.
Experience is about the black experience. And if you look at his back tattoo, you looking like, God dog, I'm black and I'm proud. I'm gonna say it out loud all day.
And on his left shoulder, is a blue and white unicorn, like right by the cusp of his collarbone. Between his collarbone and his neck is a little unicorn that's blue and white on a cloud.
Thank you, Dana. See, we was doing good. We was doing good. You enjoying bumped heads in months. Y'all all overdue though. Y'all all overdue. But hey, look. So we're gonna bring our guests on at 8:15. It is 8:12. That means my co-host Dana Dane got 3 minutes to do the infamous. You know what it is, y'all. What's it called?
Time for the Dana drop. Let's go. Let's boom.
Boom.
Yo, what it do, beautiful people? I pray that everyone is in good spirits and good health during this time. Again, we are the Donta Show and we love our village. So do us a favor, go over to youtube.com/Donta Morrison and click that subscribe button. We're trying to get our numbers up. We're trying to get our numbers up. So tell a friend, tell a cousin, tell a loved one. It's youtube.com/the Donta Morrison. All right, check it out. We're going to talk about procrastination. Procrastination. All of us procrastinate, okay? We always put off what we can do today for tomorrow, for the next day, or whatever, because it's an easy way out. We put things off when there's something more challenging at hand. Instead of rising to the challenge and completing the task we have to do, we find smaller, insignificant activities to fill our time, telling ourselves that we're going to get something done. At least I got this done. Or at least I got that done. Nobody likes knowing they're cruising down easy street. So get off of Facebook, get off of Instagram, get off of Twitter, get off of TikTok, and get that project done. Because I don't want to see you sitting in the same place this time next year talking about, man, I wish I should have. I wish I could have. People, if you really think about it, this pandemic was not all bad. God slowed things down for you to get on the train. And a lot of y'all going to miss the train. A lot of y'all going to miss the boat because you're still in your way. He says, sit down, stay home, and stay out the way. Some of y'all still got to find a way to go do something. Oh, I got to get to the beach. Some of y'all ain't never been to the beach when you could go to the beach. Come on, figure that one out. But he slowed it down so that you can focus on you. Focus on those things that you wanted to always do that you couldn't do because you were so busy. Remember your future. Although it seems like a bit of drastic measure, putting things in perspective, what's at stake for one's future reminds us of how little things matter. Sometimes things like completing a project or getting all your work done on time so you can have time to spend with your family, have time to do the other little things that you want to do. Get it done and get it out of the way. Do it for your health. Interesting enough, scientists have discovered that there is actually a link between procrastination and hypertension and cardiovascular disease. Although the study didn't really prove a cause and effect, but researchers hypothesized that procrastinators potentially punish themselves over unfinished projects and over lack of control of their lives. Okay, so stop procrastinating. If you do the work, it makes you healthy. And then lastly, there's less time for fun. You can't do anything when you got your mind blocked up. When you procrastinate, we're all allowing ourselves short-term gratification rather than thinking of what's best for ourselves in the long run. We leave less time to spend with our loved ones, our families, and just chilling if you want to just chill. We waste our precious seconds and minutes on doing things we don't even really have to do, when all we need to do is just get it done, get the task at hand done, get it done so you can enjoy your life. Enjoy your life to the fullest. So that being said, get off your behind, put the remote control down, get off of the internet, and stop procrastinating. Start that business. Get that song finished. Get that book done. Get it done. Get your butt up and get it done. Stop procrastinating. That's the Dana drop. And you know what? If you don't like it, I do. Tell them how you feel.
Yeah, yes.
Peace. Let's go, baby.
I have no words, man. I have no words. I have no words. So let's just keep moving, man. Let's just keep moving.
Hey, didn't that motivate you when he said what he said?
It was that lean back.
That lean back. Yeah.
All right, y'all, listen. So tonight's guest is no stranger to the Dante Show. She is a phenomenal individual. She's a phenomenal woman, Maya Angelou. She's a phenomenal individual who inspires, motivates, and encourages countless people. Her body of work is just brilliant, and I really appreciate and love her from a personal perspective, but professionally I really admire and respect her for her strength, her tenacity, and her diligence for what she does to not only help people change their life, but to keep them encouraged and focused. She is also a co-pastor of the church that I go to. She's been on the Dante Show numerous times, and I am sure that you are going to enjoy the tips that you receive on tonight. So everybody get your tablet, get your pen, invite your friends, your family, your cousins, your loved ones, everybody up in here, because we're going to dissect our lives and elevate to the next phase. But before we do that, Pyro Media has a surprise for our guest, and let's go, Kwame. We're in your hands, and then bring on the guest whenever you're ready. Ba-ba-da. Ooh, use the whole brand. Ooh. Kimberly Ervin, fix my life.
Come on.
Yeah.
I am like without words. Honestly, I just wow.
Just rock side to side. You know when you can't say nothing in church, you just rock side to side. Yeah.
I mean,
yes, sir.
I'm like Brandy. I want to be down. You know.
Oh my God. I am. Ooh. This is not how you do a person before you bring them on your show, okay?
So it's safe to say you had never seen that intro before.
Never. I mean, I was there when we were taking the pictures.
Right. And let's just shout out Kwame Corbett of Pyro Media Network, the man behind the Donta Show, Coffee with Kim, and so many other shows that are on Pyro. So if you want to be on Pyro Media Network, just check out pyromedianetwork.com. All right. Let's not sleep on Black business, y'all.
Let's go.
Don't do it. Don't do it. He is amazing. Kwame is always encouraging me to be a better me. And I can't thank him enough. I love him like a son. And wow. Okay, I'm gonna get this together real quick.
Yeah, because you're on the Donta Show.
Okay.
So before we get started, I mean, we now see that clearly you are someone that we need to pay attention to, because talk about leveling up and getting your glow up and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I am really big on making sure people feel empowered, that especially Black people, because we have so much going on right now that we're trying to deal with. But one thing I did notice, and we didn't get to shout it out, but Dana and I were out on Saturday in Compton.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, supporting Hey Batter Batter, because we're big on just Black business. And what we learned at the event was a lot of the other businesses that were there, they all launched in 2020.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. None of them
how amazing is that?
None of them had any like tenure. Like when did you start? 3 months ago, 6 months ago. They were all like pandemic, type businesses, and they all said, well, the pandemic hit and I lost this, I lost that, or I realized that life is short, time is short, and they just took off, doing their stuff.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is really amazing. I'm so proud, proud of, let me ask a question, were they millennials or?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I love me a good millennial.
Yeah. They were all under 30. They were under 30, right?
Yes. Yeah. I love me a good millennial. I'm telling you, I have 3 of my own. Right. And then I have my Gen Z. Whew. Now I'm not sure how I feel about that yet, because I'm a little older now.
Right.
And that one gets me together, I tell you. But I love the millennials and how they are so fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what do I have to lose? I some of us baby boomers, we may sit and kind of go, oh my God, I got shook. Mm-hmm. And take a minute to get ourselves together. And then we may go back and look for the same thing that we just came out of.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I promise you, those millennials, they will get up and they will redo a thing in a hot minute. I love that about them. I'm so inspired by that.
Yeah, and I think, is it fair to say that our generation and before us was more career minded?
Yes, absolutely.
You get that one good job. You get at the post office.
And you stay there.
Don't get a county job. Oh, you said for life.
For life.
But now millennials, you're right, they're very interchangeable and they're very fluid. They just go with the motions.
They're stepping out on faith.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
They're stepping out on faith.
They step out on faith, Dana, and sometimes I think they're stepping out on faith when sometimes they don't know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. They're just going for it.
They're just like going for it, and I just feel like, how can they not be blessed? Right. When you just step out there and just try it.
Right.
See what'll happen. Years ago, my husband and I were going through this thing when our kids were really small, and it was probably something that I would laugh at today. But back then we were going through something, and a friend of ours, I guess he called himself helping us, and he said, he said, I always say, is this the worst thing that can happen? And it stopped me in my tracks, and I had to stop and think about it. Mm-hmm. Is this really the worst thing? I think it has something to do with the car insurance, but back in the 80s, right. I was like, oh my God, the car insurance, but today I'd be like, look, call and get some more, and stop it.
Right. It's options.
100 insurance companies out there. Let's go with the next one. But
right.
Back then, we were just trying to do the adult thing, trying that out. And it was the worst thing for that moment. But when that man said that to us, it made me stand still in my tracks. And I really had to think, is this the worst thing that can happen? Absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely not. So I had to stop, get myself together. I had to gather myself and figure it out. And that's the thing. We could always figure it out.
And I think that's an excellent just segue into conversations talking about the worst that can happen. I mean, we all make jokes about, 2020 was the worst year ever, and for some, it did bring a lot of setbacks, a lot of life-changing experiences, and it made us kind of look forward to 2021, but then we get 2021 and we still got problems. We still got circumstances. We still got issues. Right. So what advice would you give to somebody that continually feels like they're going through the worst thing ever?
Yeah. And you know what? Like I said, at that moment, I really did think that was the worst thing ever, because I hadn't had any real life adult experiences, not too many. And so, I had to stop and really reconsider. But, sometimes, and I don't want to get all real religious on you, but sometimes you just have to stop and wonder, maybe there's something I need to learn.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a lesson in what I'm going through, and even in that whole pandemic, was there a lesson in something? I mean, I really feel a way about some things that were going on and my own personal beliefs about what God was doing during that time. But some of us did have to pump the brakes. We had to stand still, and some of us had to really lean and depend on our real resource, our real source, because the job and all this other stuff, those are resources.
Right.
But the source, we had to really lean on the source. I tell you what, I think it got really real for me. I mean, not that it wasn't real in the beginning, because March 16th, my supervisor called me, because I work in the Riverside office, and my supervisor called me, who was in Gardena, and said, pack up that stuff and get up out of there. And I remember that day so clearly, because so silly. I really thought, like, okay, Corona is like outside the door.
Right.
They were like, pack up your stuff and go home. I was like, okay.
Right.
And remember, I don't think we were really wearing masks back then.
No.
So, I was like putting stuff in boxes, trying to figure out what do I need to work from home, went home and started cooking. It's like cooking food. We had oxtails on Tuesday and gumbo on Friday. I mean, it was just ridiculous, right? And so I was doing pretty good. I was still working and doing everything. But then COVID hit me. It hit me. And I was like, I can't lie. The very first thing I said to myself was, am I going to die? Because there are so many people passing away from COVID. It's kind of like, Dante, is this the worst thing that could ever happen to me? Right. And I really didn't know. I really, but I knew that I was going to choose to fight. And so I would say to a person who feels like this is the worst thing that could ever happen to me, my grandmother used to say, keep getting up in the morning. And every time you keep getting up in the morning, you have a new opportunity to try and either figure it out or do something different.
Right.
And make it happen. If you have a prayer life, if you, whatever that is, you do to encourage yourself, or people that you have in your life to encourage you, that's what you do. You just keep on getting up and keep trying and keep moving forward. And just perhaps maybe you're supposed to do something different.
Now, do you find it when you're actually counseling someone or encouraging someone, do you stop and feel that you're talking to yourself sometimes? Because I know sometimes when I'm talking to like some youth or something like that, or one of my brothers or sisters, when I'm talking, it could have been something I went through years ago.
Right.
And it'll be like, man, how am I giving you this advice? And I couldn't give myself this advice when I was going through it, but I'm giving you that advice. And it feels good. It sounds good, even though you've gone through it already. You've gone through it and came to wherever it is that God has you at. And it's like, man, it feels good because it's like I made it. Now I can help you make it through.
That's it. That's it. That's why you can share that experience. And that's why you can give advice and help people and counsel them, is because you did go through it and because you did make it. I remember it was probably in the early 2000s. And God really put it on my heart to start a marriage ministry at our church. And I was like, I can't start a marriage ministry. I completely failed at marriage. I mean, I had a complete fail, right? A total F in marriage at that time. That's how I felt.
Right.
And it was amazing because every time we would have that marriage ministry, we would meet, the room would be filled. You hear me? To capacity. And people were there because most people want to touch and hear from a person who can tell them or give them advice, because that advice does work. And so we were teaching and sharing advice with people about things that we tried for ourselves, or we were like in the midst of trying. And I would tell people all the time, I hate teaching these lessons because I have to go through them, I have to really try them out,
Yeah.
And so, yes, the counseling and the sharing and encouraging people, that's what I do, because most of everything that I'm talking to people about or sharing with them about, I've gone through it on some type of level. I tell you what, though, the only thing that not the only thing, but one of the things that's kind of paramount that I had not gone through that I'm now able to share with people is being really sick. I had never in my life been very, very sick, like put me in the hospital sick.
Right.
And when I got COVID, I got really, and not just sick, I started having anxiety attacks, and I mean, I went through some things. I'm going to talk about some of that on my podcast, but amazing.
Yeah. I mean, because outside of just having COVID, you still got the news and all this other stuff pouring in, because now you're one of the people.
Yes.
Right.
You're one of them. You're not just sitting looking at it on the TV. It's like, oh my God, I am one of the people. I am in that number. Like you said, is my name about to be called, Lord? Is it my time?
Exactly.
Is all of my affairs in order? And that's a real situation. And then, so I know you did the marriage ministry, because I go to the ministry, but also, 10-minute tips. I mean, how do you get tips in 10 minutes? Like,
God.
There's so much meat that you provide. And it's like, she really did that in 10 minutes, like a little timer going. What did that come from?
I had just started working in a new office, and it was really kind of quiet at that time. And so I'm always like preparing for the next time I'm having to present to the couples. And so I would be putting things together, and I would be like, these are good tips. Wow, these are good tips. And one day, I'm telling you, I was thinking about just sharing some tips on Facebook, and the Lord just put it in my mind. 10-minute tips. Don't go over 10 minutes. You're going to lose people if you get on there and you talk, for about 15, 20, 30 minutes. Nobody really wants to be on social media watching somebody for 20, 30 minutes. I mean, you
Right.
really got to be coming with it.
Right.
And so I felt like if I could give people every week 10 minutes of something that will help them for the rest of their life, for the rest of their relationship, then maybe I can add, you know, to marriages staying together and relationships and mothers and daughters getting along and sisters. And because my tips are not just for marriage, you know, my tips are for everyone, for all kinds of relationships. So the 10-minute tips was just kind of like birthed out of being obedient to just studying and collecting information and wanting to share information and just being a teacher.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And that was already in you. That's the thing, that it was already in you.
Yeah.
And it took for the pandemic to happen for that to be birthed. Because before the pandemic, you was probably going here, going there, doing this, doing that, doing this. But when God said, sit still, I got something inside you that I want to bring out that people need to hear. See, like I said on my drop, a lot of people missed it, and they're still going to miss it because they still in their way. They're still in their own way. It's like, sit down and listen and let God take control, because he's a gentleman. He's going to stand to the side and sit there and be like,
okay, you ready?
You ready yet? Oh, you're not ready? Are you ready yet? No, you're not ready.
Right. And you know, the funny thing, the 10-minute tips actually were birthed like in like 2018, 19. And it was so funny because when the very first time I was getting ready to do it, I said, okay, I'm going to do this on my lunch hour. And it's going to be a live. And I'm going to do it for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to get off. And then I'm going to go back to work. And when I tell you that little Wi-Fi demon got busy in my office, and I couldn't.
Spirit.
Oh, and so I could not log on. I couldn't log on. So I went outside in the parking lot. I sat in my car. Everything, nothing would work. So I said, I will not be defeated. And if you look at my very first tip, I talk about that. I was like, hey, this was supposed to be a live, but I had to go ahead and make it a recording because I will not be defeated.
Right.
And so I taped it, and it was probably about 10 minutes, and it took 30 minutes for it to upload to Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I promise you, when that 10-minute tip came out, I was like, yes, I'm going to do this every week.
Right.
I'm just going to record it. I don't care what. I don't care. I'm just going to get on there. Well, and so I just said, I'm just going to record them. And I just started recording them right there in my office at work. I would just record them and, you know, put them up. And that's how I started. And then I met Kwame. And I got butterflies,
right, and photo shoots,
music, and photo shoots,
right?
Yeah. You know, so 10-minute tips have come a long way.
I have a question for you. I want to get your opinion on something, but before I ask it, I want to go to a quick commercial break. So we're gonna do a quick Pyro Media commercial break. We're going to take a sip of water for 60 seconds and then come back and I'm going to ask this question and get your opinion on it. So Kwame, take us away. Whenever you're ready, Kwame.
Oh, God.
Oh, we're back.
And we're back.
There's a glitch.
It was a glitch, y'all. It was a glitch.
It was a
Thing
glitch.
happened.
Yes.
It was a glitch. Don't
That's
worry
that
about
Wi-Fi, that Wi-Fi
Right.
demon
that
coming up
Spectrum
in here.
demon. Oh, Spectrum's here. All right, so here we go. So you know, it's weird calling you Kimberly because I've never done that.
Yeah, that's what they called me when I was born.
Yeah, you're co-pastor.
I know.
So Kimberly.
Yes.
So I know a lot of people that met and started dating during the pandemic.
Ooh.
And you know what the meeting and dating is in an environment where your options for courting is limited, and you're basically just sitting either on each other's couches, no other social interaction at all.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think these relationships are going to fare once both parties are now liberated and they have the ability to flutter wherever they want to go, without limitation?
I wasn't even aware of that people were actually going to other people's homes. Honestly, yeah. I really thought that the pandemic dating thing was really all about social media, being on FaceTime and those types of things. I would be very cautious about that because, like you said, now that we're going to be liberated, and now you have more options, you have more opportunity to meet other people and do things. I would have been really scared to have somebody in my house during a pandemic. I don't know.
I mean, during the pandemic, you still get tested together, like HIV. Yeah. Okay, you don't have HIV, you don't have COVID-19. We can kick it. We can hang out. We can't go to the movies. We can't go to a restaurant, but we can Uber Eats. We can Grubhub. We can Netflix and chill. All we're doing is being consumed with each other because we can't do nothing else. And
it's no Netflix and chill and the pastors on here. Stop that.
Right.
I know what that
means. So I'm interested to see how people's relationships, like they met, during the pandemic, how is it going to survive, once you both are free to go to your own individual social circles? I want to go to this function without you. Or we are now at a function.
Yeah.
And I see that you don't really know how to act in public.
It's funny because I'm thinking that it just hit me. I'm thinking that it will be the reverse reaction of what the couples who live together. I'm sick of sitting here looking at you. So it may have that adverse, thing where they're like, okay, we're done. You were just to pass some time away. Okay, I went and took a COVID test and we're both negative for now. But I guess in my mind, I wonder, how did they meet this person?
Online.
Was it on social media?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have anything against that. The dating,
apps and all
that.
Pretty of fish and whatnot.
I don't know anything about it, but because I've been married for 105 years, so
give or take.
So I don't really know much about it, but I do have friends that do participate in that, and so sometimes I notice that they're very disappointed in a lot of the people who kind of show up, because I think sometimes folks get on there and they show up and that's not who they really are.
They get catfished.
Yeah. You get catfished, so maybe it works out, in a more positive way, because all you really do have time to do is talk. But then I'd be afraid that maybe you're doing more than talking, and I'm not in your business. But if you're doing more than talking, and, it's really encouraging right now, once the world opens up and people can go other places, then maybe, you're not as interesting anymore. I would be very careful about that,
I think, they probably like you because they kind of stuck with you. They know you don't have COVID. So I guess you're the safest option,
you're
right?
Safe, yeah.
Right, but then here's my question, because you are a marriage counselor. Do you think less people would get married if divorce was against the law?
less people would get, it's funny because I don't know if less people would get married. I think a lot of our younger people are determining whether they're going to get married because they're watching those of us who are married, and some of us are not good examples of what marriage should be and how we should treat each other. So I don't know if it was based on, if it was against the law, would less people get married. I think watching the people who are married causes fewer people to even want to be married.
Because I've always wondered that, like, if folks knew that, well, once you get married, divorce is illegal. This is who you're really with. But I think a lot of people, because they know there is an out if it doesn't work, and it's not till death do us part, they kind of just go into it with a different kind of outlook. But I think if people knew they could not get divorced, like, this is it. Y'all dying together. And if y'all gonna get divorced, y'all both dying. Would people still get married? I'm just wondering. And Phoenicia just said, that's true, Cole. This is not Cole, Phoenicia. This is not Cole on my younger, right? Younger couples are not rushing to get married. And I think that kind of goes back to what we said at the top of the show about how younger people, millennials, look at the workforce.
Yeah.
I don't have to be stuck in a career for 30 or 40 years to get a gold watch. I don't have to be stuck in a marriage that's not working. I don't have to be stuck in anything. The independence is more in the forefront, but is that healthy?
You know what? It's not, because I look at the marriages or relationships before my time where it was death due, didn't matter what this person did or that person did, where they went, if they had another family down the lane or in another city or whatever, these folks stayed together till death do you part. And so you think about the children that were born out of those relationships and what their minds are, or their mindsets are about marriage, not very healthy, maybe a little suspicious. And then because they had that attitude, it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm gonna get married, or if we are married, well, I don't know if we're gonna stay together. Divorce rates were pretty high. And now the kids that were born out of those relationships, they like, miss me with that. We'll just live together and, we'll be fine that way. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, so each generation, is looking at marriage a little differently, each time. So I always wonder, because, of course, I have 3 adult children. Well, 4 actually.
Right.
Real adults. I'm like, y'all gonna get married and give me a couple grandkids,
No.
And I can't say that they've been in a situation where they've seen a marriage that was, it didn't work. They saw the challenges. They were around when we had our challenges, but then they saw the success coming out of those challenges. Right. And so sometimes I wonder, Dante, if that's encourages, young people, or if it discourages them. Sometimes if they see, their parents make it and come through, are they encouraged or are they scared? Yeah, like, I'm happy my parents made it, but I don't think I want to go through that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Danny's gonna say something?
No. I agree with what she's saying. She's dropping some nuggets.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. But then when it comes to how are you noticing that singles are handling the whole singledom differently than when you were single? It seems like singles now are super single. It's like, I don't need nobody. Sharitha just said each generation is getting more distant to the idea of getting married.
I think social media has a lot to do with that too, though, because like co-pastor said,
she's not co-pastor, y'all. Let her breathe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Really? No, I'm just making you.
Like Evangelist Ervin. No, like she said, the generation before her, they stayed together. You know, if an arm fell off, if you had 15 kids on the street, stuff like that, because again, there was no social media. It wasn't thrown in their face. It wasn't plastered all over the internet and things like that. You know, they come together. It's like, man, you got 18 kids. Oh yeah, you know, whatever. Now, you know, people can blast you on Facebook, on Instagram, and you know, things like that. It's like, yo, I'm out. You know,
and you guys too, women make money now.
Yeah.
Women have careers. Women are educated.
Yeah.
So they're not stuck at home. And I don't mean it like that. So please, whoever's out there, I'm not saying you're stuck.
Right. Oprah, if you're watching, stop.
I was a stay-at-home mom for many years and I loved it. Loved it. But women are not in that position where they don't have jobs where they can't, you know, take care of themselves or take care of their children.
Right.
And so with that too, you know, you have to take that under consideration where women are saying, okay, I don't have to deal with you having, you know, 5 kids over here and 2 in another city and all of that. They don't have to deal with that. You know, some don't have to deal with that. And so that encourages them to be able to, you know, be on their own and live on their own.
That is true. I didn't think about the economic factor because there was a season when women, you know, just were they were homemakers. You know, they were proud homemakers.
Yes.
But there were some that wanted to be independent of that life or not be in that box. And now they have the choice to either be a homemaker or be a successful businesswoman. Now, I do know that for a lot of them, it's hard to juggle both.
Yes.
You know, and then you still got to deal with the male ego. You know, some men do not want to be with a woman that makes either more than them or the super breadwinner. You know, some men just don't want, they're like, I can't be with that. Me personally, I would love it. But you know, they just
my husband has always said that. He's like, you can make as much money as you want to. But you know, and even that, Donta, that has a lot to do with the woman. If she is the breadwinner, you know, the majority of the breadwinner, or if she is the only breadwinner in the home, you know, she's the only source of income. How she interacts with her husband is the determination, you know, on how he receives it. Now, some men just, you know, their egos are in the way. But if I'm always constantly telling my man, you know, I make more money, or you didn't check with me, you know, that's my money. You know, you spend it, and that's my car you drive. Exactly. So if you're doing that, so if you're doing that, then of course your man is going to have an issue with you making more money. You know, like I said, some do just anyway. You know, that's just their thing. But you know, that would never be a problem over here on the Camino del Plata, okay?
But do you think that kind of mentality that you talked about, the women who are like that, who like, I don't want to say shame their man, are really emasculate, do you think that comes from possibly seeing women in their past that have just been brutalized by men and kind of made to feel like the man owns them? So they have this idea, I don't want to feel owned, so just know that I can handle it.
It could come from that. It could come from just having a ego. It could come from having some
having a Beyonce CD.
Right.
Yeah, that too.
Right.
You know, or it could come from being raised by a single woman who was very strong, telling you that, you know, you can make it on your own and you don't have to have a man, and you know, and this and that, and really kind of grooming, you know, their daughters to be very independent. And I feel like I'm an independent woman, yet I depend on my husband, you know, for certain things, and we depend on each other. And so I think that's the key, is knowing how to depend on one another, knowing how to share and encourage one another, you know, in certain areas of my life. My husband is my biggest cheerleader in everything I do, in every single thing that I do.
I'm waiting for him to walk past and wave hi at the camera, because
so he's upstairs. I banished him to the second floor.
Just a little tip by and wave.
But the thing about it is, it has to, And it's just not the female breadwinner; it's the male breadwinner too. You have to respect your queen. You have to respect your woman. You have to respect your wife, or or your mate. I'll just say that for everyone. You have to respect your significant other.
Yes.
Because even though you may not be the breadwinner, you're providing emotional support.
Yeah.
You're doing other things,
Right.
And things like that. Because some people were raised as strong men, and it's hard for them to say, "Man, I can't be with no woman that make more than me, man. You know, shit, man. I'm a man.
Crazy.
Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? So, when you get out of that and put that aside and say, okay, well, let me be great at this. Let me do this. Let me support him or her, or her, whatever in this area to, do my part on this side. So it just balances out. No breadwinner or anyone that has more than anyone should ever put anyone down and make them feel belittled or things like that. And I'm a big Dante in the village. No, I hate bullying. And to me, that's a form of bullying.
Very much so.
That's a form of bullying, and could get you choked out. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
But you know what? When I was a stay-at-home mom, I worked more then than I ever worked. It was always something to do. It was always something to do. My children were much younger, so they needed more of my attention, more of my help, more of my direction. There were times, I remember when my kids were young, and at one time I had a baby, an elementary school child, a junior high school, and a high school child. And everybody was doing something, going places, doing things. And so I was working all the time. And the thing about it was my husband really did appreciate it. Yeah. He really did appreciate it. So it took pressure off of him because I enjoyed taking care of the family. So it was good for me at that time.
I'm looking at the comments, and these comments are on point. I think Phoenicia Mwepo said, I agree that the key in marriage is to depend on each other.
Yes.
So, Dwayne Shigg said the key is to have a real partnership. Partnership being all caps. I think that is phenomenal. A partnership is, you can only have a partnership through real communication.
That's it. You got to.
Phoenicia said it is important to have your own identity and still support each other. Right.
Yes.
Couples that one can't move till the other one say move.
Right.
Who are you? And I keep respecting and say, well, let me ask my spouse if it's cool if I can hang out with y'all all night, yada, yada, yada. Right. But it makes me uncomfortable when the person is scared to ask their partner. Are they just like, well, I don't know if I go, they're gonna get mad. Why? Why would they get mad? Because you're going out to have coffee or something. I just think when it comes to relationships, that right now we're not doing enough conversation with millennials, Z generation, whatever, about the importance of communication and learning how to.
And that's true. I was telling Kwame, one of my dreams, honestly, is and my millennial girls. I love my girls. It's like my daughters, and then my nieces and my bonus daughters and all of them. But I was telling Kwame, one of my dreams is for us to have a slumber party when the world opens back up. We would like go to a nice hotel and just have a slumber party. And I really want to talk to them and find out what's going on inside of them and in their heads as it relates to marriage. I look at my daughters. I look at my nieces, and these are boss ladies. They're beautiful. They're smart. They make their own money, yet they're not married, and they don't have, issues that I know of, that's keeping them from getting married. And it just seems like that's just not something that's on the mind of the millennial young man. I mean, I talk to my son sometimes. I'm like, son, come on now. And he's like one of those that's like, I'm gonna think about it, Mom, and I know he's still young. He's, almost 30, but I don't know. I guess because my generation, we got married in our 20s, like 20, oh, you married, by 25, you got 2 or 3 kids, that type of thing.
You know?
Right. And I've always told them, You don't have to do it like we did. As a matter of fact, don't do it like we did. Because when I really think about it, we really were too young to be married. When my kids started turning and getting into their 20s, I started thinking about myself. I was married with kids at this age.
Right.
With a mortgage and car notes and
responsibilities.
And responsibilities. And I tell them all the time, travel, save your money, buy you some property. You know, then I think, okay, am I doing like that mother that's telling me you don't need no man? You know?
I want to live vicariously through you.
Right? That type of thing. But you know, it just is what it is. And so this generation, unfortunately, no, I'm not even going to say unfortunately. This generation, they are choosing to put that off for things I believe that they want to do before they actually do that, get married.
And I get that. Do you think now in that sense, do you think they can fall into the trap of becoming so independent that they don't know how to allow someone else into their space?
Yes, that's part of our conversation with my girls is, okay, let's really take a look at, you know, what we're presenting when we are, you know, in a relationship with a guy. You know, what are we showing him? What are we telling him? You don't have to open my car door.
Right.
You know, I can pay for my own dinner. You know, that
I'll
type
pick you up.
Oh, girl. You know, it's like, no, don't do that. You know, leave some of those old-fashioned, you know, ways of courting and relationship type of things. You know, it makes it interesting. So that's part of our conversation.
And I think Brene Seals asked that earlier up on the thread. She asked, are gender norms still relevant? Because when we talk about all this independence and all that, you know, are gender norms still relevant? Should chivalry exist? Or do women get offended by chivalrous acts?
You know, some women do get offended by it. Some women do. I mean, my husband is like the chivalrous of them all, right? So he's going to open every door. You know, it's going to be 10 people walking in the bank before he comes in after I've gone in, because he's going to hold the door for every woman, you know, but he's even had times where women are like, it's okay, I got it. Or, you know, no, thank you. Or, you know, and it really depends on the person, you know, and maybe she will find a person or a person will find her who is okay with that. You know, and they're okay with just being independent and not really depending on each other for those chivalrous or those, like she said, those gender norms. You know,
I would love to co-moderate a conversation with you with millennials and kind of see where their heads are about relationships and dating and marriage and all that. Because my frat brother's on here and they said, damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's like, you get married, if you don't get married. So it's like, how does a person, you know, find, I don't want to say find themselves, but be true to themselves? Because there are a lot of millennials that want to be married at a young age.
They do.
But then unfortunately, because it seems like the commonality is to be independent and live and all that. It's like, why you want to get married so young? Let's go to Cabo. You know, let's go on a cruise. Let's do this. Well, I kind of want to have somebody. You don't need nobody right now. Why not? Man, you too young to get married. Yeah. So like, I would love to find those outliers, because I know it's some outliers in the circle of millennials that quietly want to be married. They want to have the home. They want to have the little dog, the little kid. They want that, but their circle is like, no, that's corny.
I'll do it. But you know what, Dante, even some of the millennials or the younger folks who are getting married, they're getting married, but they don't want to have children. You know, you know, so there are levels to this thing, you know, or they're saying, you know, they're saying, okay, we can get married and then you can work on your, you know, your career and I'm gonna work on my career and then we're gonna travel and we're gonna do, and I'm not against any of that, because there are some people who don't need children. Okay, clearly. Okay. They should not have
That's next show. That's
another show. You know, but you know, so there's some layers to this whole thing, you know, and I had a friend when I was coming up in high school who like took care of her sisters, like for the majority of the care was on her shoulders because her mom was a professional.
Right.
And so, you know, she was kind of like, I'm not having kids when I grow up. And guess what? She didn't. But she ended up still taking care of other people's kids and raising them. So, you know, it's so many layers to it. It really.
And I think we're gonna invite you back to unpack these layers. This sounds like a whole series of conversations because now I'm looking at the comments and people are into this because within the Black community, I would just say that within the Black community, we don't have enough conversations about relationships, how to sustain healthy relationships because we were taught till death do us part. Well, you're beating me to death. You're killing me. I'm emotionally unhappy. I feel dead on the inside. So, you know, and then how do we enter into a relationship whole?
Yeah.
Because, you know, people say, well, I'm almost ready. I found somebody, they'll make me whole. You should enter into it whole.
As whole as you can be.
Whole as possible. You know, and don't just get a piece of man to say you got a man, you know.
But
and I think
you should someone put on here to know yourself, become familiar with yourself, and know what you're looking for and know what you want, and not be so afraid that, okay, I'm 30, I'm almost 30, I'm rounding about 35, I'm almost 40, you know, and I just got to grab the first person who says, hey, you know, you want to get married, or, you know, whatever, gives you a whole lot of attention. You know, that's not good either. You know, that's not good either. You know, so it's really about knowing what you want, knowing who you are, you know, and if this person is compatible to you, is this the person that is willing to share, you know, the rest of their life with you, you know, the good and the bad, because I mean, the good and the bad. I mean, when I'll be honest, okay, I'm just going to say this, you know, all the holy people just cover your ears. But, you know, in my day, a lot of us got married because we were pregnant or because we didn't want to feel bad because we was having sex. And so we thought, oh, well, you know, if we having all this sex, so if we get married, then we can just have all the sex we want. And then when you get married, you don't have all that sex anymore.
Right.
You too busy paying bills and doing all
I'm too tired.
You know, and so, you know, and so it's just so many things. But yes, there are layers to it, Dante. And yes, I would love to unpack some more of these layers, you know, with you at a different time. But yes, not only do I want you to be with me in that type of form, but I also want you to be on my podcast. Because I like going back and forth with you. You know, we talk.
You know,
I think it'll be a good conversation.
Oh, I got you. Anytime I'm with it because I just believe in communication.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, these comments are amazing to me. You know, especially my frat brother Ahmad is on here just talking about, you know, communication is just not being. People don't know how to communicate. Communicate when you're not happy and communicate when you are happy. Because
we started using these to communicate.
Right.
We communicate on these things more than we communicate. I'm even guilty of it sometimes. I would rather just text you happy birthday instead of calling and say
right. Birthday. Right. I don't want all that conversation. Right. You're on a date and your date is looking at their phone the whole time.
The whole time.
Like,
right.
Well, are we here together or would you rather be with the person you're texting?
Exactly.
You know, what's going on? And even when it comes down to just speaking your needs, you know, intimate needs, you know, what do you need intimately?
Right.
You know, what am I not doing right? What should I do better? You
Those
know,
are good conversations to have.
Right. Because now you Sealy in the color purple and you ain't saying nothing. You just there. You know, and those are mature conversations that need to be had in a relationship, a marriage, whatever. But we gotta feel safe enough with our partner to do that. To do that.
I think that's why even in my 10-minute tips, it feels like sometimes like I'm repeating myself because I think all roads lead back to communication. It just seems to me like almost every subject matter that I dig into, it has something to do with communication. But I've said it before to our couples that we teach in our 2B1 class. It's like, we cannot exhaust the subject of communication. We cannot. Right. It's just so important. And then once you think you've got it down pat, something will happen and you'll realize that you really do not communicate the way you should, you know, or you'll hold back. You know, I was telling my husband last night, I said, I need to share something. I need to share have a tough talk right now. Mm-hmm. He was like, okay. You know, and so I shared something with him, how I felt. And I told him, I said, I wanted to share this with you and talk to you about this because I don't want to hold on to it and be secretly mad at you about it, you know? And so we were able to talk about it. And guess what? Some of it was misunderstanding and miscommunication about a certain thing. So, you know, it's like, if you talk about it, you won't, I promise you, you will not die if somebody tells you something about yourself that's maybe not so positive. You know, maybe you'll improve. Yeah. Maybe you'll get better. You know, maybe you'll think about it the next time you do that thing or say whatever that is.
I love it. So the producer is telling me we are way over time. Sorry, Kwame. Sorry. So Kimberly, can you please tell people about your podcast? How can they check out your new podcast, follow you, and all that kind of stuff? Just go into it.
So, you know, this new podcast, this is something I've been really wanting to do for a while. And I listen to podcasts all the time. And so I love it because I don't have to like put on the lipstick and put the earrings on and make sure, you know, my face is, you know, beat as much as it's going to be. But I could just get up, throw on my robe, grab my cup of coffee, you know, turn on the mic and go for it, you know. And so that's something that I've always been looking forward to doing. So it will launch on this Friday. I'm not sure what time.
There you go. Bam. April 13th.
It launches April 13th. Yes, and we will also have there's gonna be a lot of things launching on that day, the 13th. We're gonna have a website where you can go to, you can listen to the podcast, you can view the 10-minute tips on that website. Just a number of things that are coming. So look out check out Facebook, keep watching me, keep looking. It will premiere on April 13th. And let me tell you, the very first two podcasts, episode 1 and 2, all I'm going to say is have your tissue sitting next to you.
Oh,
yeah. Number 2, especially. So my podcast is really all about women empowerment. It's about relationships with women, for women. And so
ladies.
Yes, ladies. I talk about all of it. I talk about parenting and family and all kinds of things, relationships and sisterhood. And I'll just give you a little secret. The very first 2 podcasts, I start with talking to someone special to me. And then I have a group of people that are talking. And we're not just talking about fun stuff. We're digging deep into the things that we've experienced together. And a lot of healing took place. I'm telling you, the second one we recorded with the producer, and none of us had a dry eye. We all were sitting there crying.
I love it. I love it.
So you guys, please tune in. Look for the information on Facebook. It's coming. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
And why the butterfly? Does the butterfly symbolize something?
Oh, yes. The butterfly is my dad forever looking over me.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So I'll tell you a quick funny story. Is he telling me to get off and go away? Not yet.
No, don't ignore him. Kimberly. You ignore him. You take your time, Kimberly.
Okay. And so after my dad passed away, the year after my dad passed away, that spring, there was somewhere in my backyard, there was a cocoon. And so this beautiful butterfly, he just like took off and he lived in my backyard. And the next year, the same thing. it was the same. I'm gonna say it was the same butterfly, but that butterfly lived in my backyard. And okay, you're not gonna believe this, but we moved from Cerritos to Corona.
No, it wasn't. The butterfly was not there. The butterfly was the same butterfly.
And so I told my husband, I said, I think that's Daddy.
Wow.
I think that's my dad. So just for me, I mean,
Right.
I know it's not my father, right? But for me, it symbolized him just taking care of me and watching over me. And it also symbolized me growing and evolving and becoming more. And so that's what the butterfly is all about. So that the butterfly, you see the butterfly will be on everything.
I love it. That's a beautiful story. No, that's a great.
You.
Yeah, the symbolism is phenomenal. No, that is great. So now we all know what the butterfly means.
Yeah.
Now I get it. I love it. So listen, you're going to be a regular on the Donta Show.
Yes.
You lit up the thread, and we are going to push and promote Coffee with Kim. We're going to push and promote 10-minute talk tips. Are you still doing those? Or those all archived?
Yes. So let me say this too before we get kicked off. Oh, he said no. Go ahead. He said, "Go ahead, Cole."
Yeah. Go ahead.
So 10-minute tips and Coffee with Kim are going to interchange with one another. So one week it'll be 10-minute tips, the next week it'll be Coffee with Kim, and so on and so forth. So twice a month I'll do 10-minute tips, and twice a month I'll do the podcast, Coffee with Kim. And so can I tell you about the story where Coffee with Kim came from?
Sure, I have time.
Hey, come on, let me tell you. So, you know, when years ago we had what do you call it? Oh wow, that's terrible. Not children's church. It was what is it called before you start church?
Sunday school.
Sunday school. You see how long it's been.
You're so far removed, right?
Pastor don't even know what Sunday school is, right? So we had Sunday school, and so we would separate. Like some Sundays it would be the men, they would have their Sunday school class, and the women, we would have our Sunday school class. And so the women always outnumbered the men. So we would always go into the fellowship hall, and everyone that knows me knows I love coffee. And so the ladies got together and they were like, let's just make this a very elegant situation. So every Sunday for Sunday school, we had round tables, we had tablecloths, we had flowers, and we had coffee, and we had danishes and donuts and things. And our Sunday school class was called Coffee with Kim. And that's where that name came from. So when Kwame and I, when the producer and I, we were kind of going back and forth on what we going to call it, I was like, I want to bring back Coffee with Kim, because that's my thing. You know, I love me a good cup of coffee. So, yeah, I love me a good cup of coffee, right? But, yeah, so that's where it came from. And so it's supposed to symbolize, like, that podcast comes out, and it'll be a lot of little listening things that you should listen for when it comes on, okay? But it's going to be like, get your coffee, sit back, and just, you know, chill, relax, listen to it. Even if in your car, you know, stop by Starbucks and get your coffee or your tea or whatever it is, and just listen as we drive.
Right. And that's a good thing. Yeah.
Great. I mean, just watching how everything evolved.
Oh my gosh.
Full circle. And like you kind of said at the top of the show, stuff is already in us.
It's
we
in
gotta
us.
sit still and let it just manifest.
Oh my God.
And the seeds that you planted years ago, coffee with
my
Kim,
word. Yes.
Right
who
now.
Thought?
You know, I love it. So we need some Coffee with Kim mugs.
Yeah.
So everyone can have a mug. Can
I grab one?
You sure can. You take all the time you need. You go, Kimberly. You go. We have nothing but time here at the Donta Show. Nothing but time.
I have a Coffee with Kim mug.
Does it really say it? It says it. I love it.
So, you know, we're getting it together over here.
You're be a brand. You are a brand.
I'm a brand.
Already.
I love it. All right, so we really gotta go, because I know Kwame is behind the scenes, just like
We're gonna get
like right. So listen, give everybody the website or the how they find you one more time.
Okay, so right now you can find me on Facebook.
Kimberly, give her full screen.
Kimberly Jenkins Ervin on Facebook. And you'll be able to find me on kmervin.com once once we launch everything. And you, like I said, you'll be able to go on our website and you'll be able to see the or listen to the podcast. You will be able to watch the 10-minute tips and just have a good time. If you want to book me for a speaking engagement, you'll be able to do that. I mean, I just want to do a lot of good interactive things on the website, as well as in the 10-minute or TMT group. Don't forget, we have a TMT group on Facebook. So just look for the TMT group within the groups, and we'll let you in if you're a girl. And we do have TMT or 10-minute tips live on every first Thursday of the month. So it's just a lot going on. It's a lot happening for me right now in this life, in my going on 57 years, and I'm just super excited about it. So thank you, Donta. Thank you so much.
57?
Hey, October. 57.
I got stuff right there. 57.
57. I'm so excited.
If y'all don't start hydrating, all y'all out there drinking right now, get y'all some water. Start today. Just hydrate. Look at that. So is the merchandise ready? People are asking about these coffee mugs. Is the merchandise ready yet?
Not quite ready, but they'll be ready. Right?
Okay. So we got merch coming. I mean, I love the fact that you are building your brand in your season in the right time.
Yes, that's it, Donta.
Yes.
The right time.
Ready. That's what I love about it. So we're going to get you back on the show again to do a part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of this. We're going to push out KM talks and coffee talks and
all of that, right?
All that talks. We're going to sell this merchandise.
Yes.
And just make this glow up even bigger. So I love you, co-pastor.
I love you, Donta. I love you too, Dana.
Love you too.
All right, and we'll get you back on. Take care.
Absolutely. Take care. Good night, everyone.
See you.
So what else you want to talk about, Dana?
Hey, man, I'm not trying to get in trouble. So, hey, follow me on Instagram at DNA716. Follow me on Instagram at DNA716, and you'll see what I got going on musically and things like that. All right, but before we get to Donta, you got to spread love.
Instead of spreading lies.
Make sure you spread love.
Instead of spreading lies.
All right, that's it for me. Call somebody, text them, email them, let them know you're thinking about them. All right, we love y'all.
Boom, 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 y'all. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at Donta_Morrison, Donta_Morrison on Instagram. I don't post a lot, but I post enough to keep you intrigued and excited. Make sure to follow me at DontaMorrison.com. You can check out all the stuff that I do in the community, also the books that I have written. You can get your own copy. They are available on my website or on Amazon.com. Last but not least, thank you to the Village. We appreciate y'all.
Yes.
No, if it was not for the Donta Show Village, it would just be two dudes on here talking to each other. But we thank y'all for just always rocking with us, tuning in with us every Monday and Tuesday. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We need y'all. So with that being said, please go to youtube.com/Donta Morrison. Subscribe to the Donta Show on YouTube. Please, please, please subscribe to the Donta Show on YouTube. We've had some amazing shows in the past, and looking at our lineup, we got a lot of good speakers that are coming back on the show. All right, so we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you tomorrow night right here. Yes. So everybody have a blessed night, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care.